Good morning. This is Joyce. Glad you're here. And this is Amazing Grace Wolf's Homestead. And today we're going to be making bread and cinnamon rolls. But the fantastic thing about it is that I'm going to be trying out a new bread pan. It is a cast iron bread oven and it is the dome shaped. I'm going to be trying that out. And I'm trying out a new cinnamon bun recipe from Taste of Home. So grab your coffee, get your paper and pencil, sit back, and let's get busy, okay? And by the way, this coffee that I'm drinking today is vanilla hazel, and it is absolutely delicious, topped off with a little bit of homemade creamer using condensed milk and half. And it is fantastic, the combination of it. So it's a good deal. I love coffee. Love coffee in the morning. Love coffee during the day. I'm going to set it right down there beside me so I can get a drink when I need to. Now, we're going to start off with working on the cinnamon buns. So I am going to take the equivalent of a package of dry active yeast, and I'm going to add to my pot, my bowl here, I'm going to add 1 tablespoon of dry active yeast. Okay? And then we're going to add 1 cup of milk, and I'm going to warm that up just a little bit. And how I'm going to warm that up is because the recipe is asking for 2% milk, and I'm going to fill my cup. Oh, I'm going to use this cup here. This cup. This is my old favorite Wesson cup that I've had for years and years and years, and I use it all the time. I'm going to add it 1/2 to 3/4 full of milk, and I'm going to add the rest of it with warm water because I have whole milk, and then I have 2% milk, and the recipe calls for using 2% milk. So this is what we're going to do. All right, I've got a 1/2 cup of whole milk, and so I'm going to dilute that by using enough warm water to finish it up to a cup. All right, and I'm going to pour that right on top of that yeast. Now I've rinsed my cup out because I'll be using that again. Now, on top of that, I'm going to add a 1/2 cup of sugar. So I'll get my little handy dandy 1/2 cupper out of here. We've got beautiful weather today. This afternoon I'm hoping to get to go out and work in the garden and the yard. Here's my 1/2 cup of sugar, and I'm adding that right into there. And we'll give that a little stir. And we're going to let that sit and bubble. Okay, and just about 3 or 4 minutes. It doesn't take very long. And I'm going to go on and add 1/3 cup of softened butter, while the mixture is warm so that we can get that taken care of. And what I'm going to do while that's warm, I'm going to stand here and I'm going to stir that. You could melt your butter if you want to, but with the mixture being warm, it's going, and the butter being softened, it's going to melt pretty quick. The weather is very pretty. Temperatures are just right. It gets a little warm in the afternoons here. We live in the western part of Kentucky. It's zone 7A. And I'm going to add just a little more yeast. And that way we can, because I added a half a cup of sugar. Okay. Now we live in zone 7A. And this week, my garlic come in the mail from my Michigan gardener, and I am going to get my garlic, get it planted this week. I've got to get I have a half bed, which is a 4x4, and I'm going to get that filled with fresh dirt and stuff, and I'm going to get that into the ground because this is the month that I want to plant my garlic. That will be for a outside job. Okay. Now, while I'm letting this froth up a little bit, I want to show you. This is my box, and a dear friend of mine gave this to me for my birthday, and so we're trying this out today. I've never used one of these before, and this one happens to be the Crofton cast iron bread oven, and it's made with the dome, and I'm going to show you the actual dome. And here is the dome. Isn't that beautiful? Now I will let it rest on me. The dome, and then the bottom. So we're going to make our bread, our loaf of bread, in this dome when we get it ready to mix. Okay, now as always you'll find the recipes in the bottom part where it says description, and I'm going to give you the recipe. I'm going to say it as we go. So far I have used about a tablespoon and a half of my dry yeast. I've used a cup of whole milk turned into 2% milk by dividing it in half. And that milk was heated up to at least 110, and that will help get this going pretty quickly. Then we added a 1/3 cup of butter, softened, and we added a 1/2 cup of sugar. Now we're going to take 2 large eggs and we're going to mix that into the mixture. So let me get me now, for me, because I live on a farm and have lived on a farm pretty much all my life, I crack my eggs in a separate bowl before I put it in and I do it one at a time, into my mixture, just in case we have an egg that is not good. And we did this growing up, because growing up on the farm, we didn't refrigerate our eggs, but I do refrigerate eggs today, and I buy my eggs already refrigerated. But I still do the same. So I have one egg, and I'm going to dump that in there into the mixture. And then I have another egg, and I'm going to dump that in there. And then I am going to stir. Okay. Now, I am going to add to this 1 teaspoon of salt. And I'm going to stir that. Okay. Now, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add 4 to 4.5 cups of all-purpose flour. One, two. Now I'm going to take the first 2 cups and I'm going to work that in. And I don't know if you can see. Let me move my brown sugar to the side here. And see if I can bring you up closer. Let's see if I've got you. Yeah, that's got you up closer. And I'll turn you down just a little bit. I do appreciate y'all being patient with me and learning how to operate this and try to do everything all at the same time. You can see I'm just stirring this up. And Okay, now I'm going to add 2 more cups of flour. And we're going to work this in. And it gives me the option for a 1/2 cup more. And I'm going to save that option for when I get ready to actually roll this dough out. Okay. Okay, now I'm going to slip my hands down inside here. And the dough's going to be just a little bit sticky. Not bad, but just a little bit. Okay. Now I'm going to take my olive oil and I'm going to drizzle. And then I'm going to take my we'll drizzle again, just a little bit. And what I'm doing is I'm just lightly getting the outside oiled, and we're going to let this set and let it rise. Okay, and now we're going to cover this and we're going to let it rise. And I've got my cover. Where do I have my cover at? I have it. Oh, yeah, I see it. And I'm going to set that right there on that stove. And I'm going to take and cover that, and we're going to let that rise. Okay. Now, we are going to get started on our actual bread that we're going to be making in the dome. So here we go. While that's rising, we're going to get our bread dough mixed. Okay, I need 2 cups of very warm water, but not over 100 degrees. Okay. All right, we're going to let that cool down. And while that water is warm, I'm going to add a 1/2 cup of honey. I do try to keep honey on hand at all times. Honey's very good for you. So we're going to mix a 1/2 cup honey. In this bread recipe, and I've made it before for you, we don't use sugar at all. The honey does all the sweetening power in it. And so we're going to let this honey melt, dissolved into this water. Honey smells so good. And if you can get the raw, 100% pure raw packed honey, that's the best to use. Unless you're using honey that is from the manuka tree, which is very good, has medicinal purposes to it as well. I would use the manuka honey in like my coffee to drink, and then use my regular natural honey that we get in your area, which will help you with allergies if you have allergies. If you use the natural honey, 100% pure honey in your area, local area. Okay, now we're going to let that set just a minute. And I want that to cool off just a minute. And then we're going to add our yeast. I'm going to use 2 tablespoons of yeast and a 1/4 cup of olive oil. And we'll use a teaspoon of salt and 5½ cups of flour, all-purpose flour, for this bread. So we're going to let that cool down just a minute. And while we're waiting for that to cool down, because I want that to be just right, we are going to go ahead and read the word of the day. And we're going to read Psalms 34, and beginning at verse 1. This is a psalm of David when he changed his behavior before Amalek, who drove him away, and he departed. And David said, in the word of God, I will bless the Lord at all times. His praise shall continually be in my mouth. My soul shall make her boast in the Lord. The humble shall hear thereof and be glad. O magnify the Lord with me, and let us exalt his name together. I sought the Lord, and he heard me, and delivered me from all my fears. They looked unto him, and were lightened, and their faces were not ashamed. This poor man cried, and the Lord heard him, and saved him out of all his troubles. The angel of the Lord encampeth round about them that fear him, and delivereth them. O taste and see that the Lord is good. Blessed is the man that trusteth in him. David had become afraid, and his fears, and they encamped around him, and he began to become afraid. So then he remembered, and he trusted God, and he went unto God, and he prayed, and God heard his cry and heard his prayer, and he delivered him out of all his fears. I believe it's 1 Timothy 1:7. I believe that's correct. You can look that up and correct me if I'm wrong on that one. But God hath not given us a spirit of fear, but of power and of love and a sound mind. And David knew this, and so he went and allowed himself to trust in the Lord, put himself to the side, trusted God. and God delivered him. And where it said that he saw and he heard, God did hear, and he delivered him. And they looked upon their faces and they were not ashamed because they knew that God was with them. And there was no need to be afraid. And there was no need to be ashamed because God maketh not ashamed. And this poor man cried, the poor man being David. And the Lord heard him and saved him out of all of his troubles. Not just part of it, but all. A-L-L. And that's what he'll do for me and you. The angel of the Lord encampeth round about them that fear him and delivereth them. Because he has not given us a spirit of fear, but he's given us a spirit of love, truth, healing, completeness, wholeness. And he delivers us because we trust in him. Oh, taste and see. Try the Lord out. If you haven't talked to the Lord, if you've never asked the Lord to do anything for you, try him out and see if he doesn't come to your rescue. See if he doesn't come to answer what you've asked. Our God is faithful, and today, if you'll hear his voice, turn unto him. He will save us, each and every one, out of all of our troubles. That's the word today. Psalms 34, verses 1 through 8. I hope you enjoyed this. We're going to get back to our bread now, and it should be cool enough now where that we would be able to go ahead and get this dough started. All right. Okay, now I'm going to add my yeast, and I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of my dry active yeast. See if you can see that. But we're going to let that sit there and just enjoy that honey and it's already beginning to bubble. The yeast is. So it's very active and it's coming together. Now, in the meantime, let's see if I can get you a little bit straighter. As we're letting this dissolve and this yeast come together, we're going to put 1/4 cup of olive oil. Now I want to measure this out on this one. We're going to put 1/4 cup of olive oil. And the yeast and honey water is already beginning to froth very much. So I'm going to add this 1/4 cup of olive oil. Give that a little bit of a stir. And I'm going to try to bring you down just a little closer. Let's see. Let me see. Okay. Okay, I'm going to add a half a teaspoon of salt, to a teaspoon. And we're going to stir that. And then I'm going to start with my flour. This recipe for this bread calls for 5½ cups. I always reserve the ½ cup for when you get it out to knead it down. So, and I may have to, let me go ahead and reach down in here and get another bag of flour. In case we need it. And I will set this flour over here to the side just in case I need it. I do use King Arthur all-purpose flour. This round, that's what I have. And I also use King Arthur bread flour as well. So I've got that out just in case we need it. Let me get my sleeves back up. And we're going to start. Now with this, I mix it together 1 cup at a time. And I'll get my whisk. Okay. And here's 2. Okay, and then three. excuse me, working outside in the dust. Although we really did have a good rain last week and was very, very thankful for it. We still have dust when you get so far in the leaves and stuff. And the leaves are beginning to fall. Of course, it's fall season. Let me see if I can empty this out. There is 4. Now let me step over here and get my canister filled up. All right, now we've got this ready to finish up, and I'm going to switch gears here. I'm going to take this out, and we're going to get this dough out of this, and we're going to finish up with this. There we go. Okay. Now this was 4. Because our dough is coming together now. Okay, and we're going to add our 5th cup of flour. Okay. Now I'm going to add just a little bit. To get it to work. As I'm kneading it. Get this all worked in together. This time of the year is a good time to bake bread. It's just part of being fall, of of baking breads and baking rolls and okay. Now I'm going to take my olive oil. Lightly sprinkled it, and I'm going to just flip that over. All right. And then we're going to set it over here on the stove. And we're going to cover it. And while the doughs are rising, I'm going to take time to get the table and things picked up and put up so that you'll be able to see how I work on the table with the doughs. And we'll be getting back when it rises to actually use the new bread dough and make these cinnamon rolls and get them going again. So we'll be back in just a few minutes. There's my bread. There's my cinnamon rolls. So what we'll do is we'll bring you back when they're ready. We're going to let them set and let them rise again. And then we're going to put them in the oven and we're going to bake them at 350. And the cinnamon rolls will bake for 30 minutes, 25 to 30 minutes. And the bread will bake for about 45 minutes. And then we'll go from there. Okay? We'll be back. Okay, so here we are. Let me see if I can get you just a little bit right there. And we're ready to put this bread and these cinnamon rolls in the oven. Now, what I did was I took 1 egg and I took about a tablespoon of water and I'm beating this egg mixture up with the water. And I'm going to take a brush and I'm going to brush this egg mixture over the bread and over the rolls. And I'm going to pull you back down. I have the bread in the dome. I sprayed the top of my dome with some ham. Now I'm going to cover this bread with this egg mixture. Just like this. Okay, I'm going to cover this one. And then I'm going to cover the cinnamon rolls. I have my oven preheated to 350. Okay. And I'm going to take my knife and slit my bread. Just like that. Okay. And now we're going to put the dough on top. Let you see what I'm doing. Okay. And we're going to let these bake for 30 minutes. So it's 11:32. We should be back about 12, a little after. Okay? We'll see the results. Okay, we're going to take the bread and the cinnamon rolls out of the oven. So let's see what we got. Let me see. Here, I'll lay my mitts down. Okay. Here is cinnamon rolls. Here is loaf of bread. Now, we're getting to the dough. Okay, let's see. It's going to be a surprise for me as well as you. All right. Let's see what we got. All righty. Now, we need to let this brown just a little bit. So, we're going to put it back in the oven. And we're going to let it brown. In the meantime, the bread recipe, I'm letting those that brown just a little bit in that dome. It turned out beautiful. We're going to wait and see exactly what it looks like when it's finished browning. And then I'm going to get this, I'm going to turn it around, and we're going to get this bread out of the container. And let it cool on this rack. Okay. There's this loaf of bread. We're going to put that there. I'll turn you back around. And I have two very hungry boys, one older than the other, that is really starving for these cinnamon rolls. So let's get the icing on them. And now, I did not make the icing that was on the recipe. I will at a later date, but I had some little containers of icing that was from Domino's Pizza. I saved it to keep from wasting it, and I'm going to drizzle this over these cinnamon rolls. So let's get busy. Okay, and I'm going to turn you down and let you see. They smell delicious. Just rub that. Okay. I'm going to use this other one up. We had two, so that worked out just perfect. That works out very good. All right. And now I'm going to get a couple of saucers and dip my boys out a cinnamon roll. Okay. Okay. These are coming out so soft. Oh, this broke off, so I'm going to have to taste it. Anything breaks off, you know, is fair game. Mmm. Delicious. Okay. We'll be back. There's my bread. There's my cinnamon rolls. Okay, we get it figured out here directly. So, we thank you for coming by. Thank you for this experiment. It just gets better and better, and I just love it. Y'all have a blessed day. Come back, see us. If you like this video, if you like all this madness and craziness that goes on in my kitchen, Amazing Grace Wolf's Homestead, we welcome you to be with us, to hear the Word of God, which is the most important, and to see what we're doing in this kitchen. We'll see you later. Bye-bye.